to
This shit
the
is
fact
crazy.
that when Uncle Joe, your resident, fell out with Russia, Russia decided to go and do business with China, with China's own digital currency. Now, China's digital currency was gold-backed. So Russia and China decided to negotiate on oil with a gold-backed currency, and then India went, hang on, we'll go as well. Just so that people realize, India and China, 1.5 billion in each country. That's 3 billion people. Just in India and China. Russia added to that, Brazil added to that, South Africa added to that, takes it up considerably. And they're known as the group of BRICS. Now, this is where America is not seeing, because media are not covering this. Along with BRICS, there are countries that have already joined the BRICS group. Egypt has joined them. Afghanistan has joined them. Algeria, Indonesia, Kazakhstan, Nicaragua, Nigeria, Senegal, Thailand, the United Arab Emirates, Argentina, Iran, Saudi Arabia,
He's gonna keep going.
Zimbabwe, Iraq, and interestingly enough, the United Kingdom. And the United Kingdom is going to back its currency
Silver.
by sterling silver, going back to what it was before. Now, they've already done this, but nothing in media. Now, there's a list of countries that have applied but not yet been integrated.
Listen to
Costa
the last
Rica,
one.
El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Panama, Bolivia, Chile, Cuba, Ecuador, Peru, Uruguay, Venezuela, Azerbaijan, Mongolia, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Vietnam, Turkey, and the fun one, Germany. The fact that Germany has applied tells me that the European Union's days are completely over. Because if the Germans are leaving the EU, it was only the Germans and the British that were putting in. The rest were taking out.
Exactly. So let's talk about this because, so number one, just the BRICS alone, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, represents about 47% of the world, of the population. I mean, you mentioned China and India, yeah.
All right, Shalom. This is Howard 1 by Yasha Allah of the Lions Den Camp. I want to say Kal Halayim, La Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Harakah Kodash, Ma'amaf. Double honor to the elder apostles of GMS and the elders. Shalom to you, Akim and Akwatim and children that believe in sincerity and truth around the four corners of the earth. This lesson is going to be dealing with this recent BRICS unification of damn near more than half the world's population. All right. The basic foundation of the BRICS allegiance or nations that came together takes up 47% of the world's population. And that's not including the long list that the reporter read in the beginning of this video, dealing with Saudi Arabia, all these Latin countries. Even now, Germany and the UK are talking of joining BRICS. All right, pulling away from the EU and pulling away from NATO. And this is all prophecy according to Daniel chapter 2 and also Revelation chapter 17. And that's what I'm going to get into. All right, but to start it off, let's read this real quick. It says, what is BRICS and its purpose? All right, we know the nations that joined BRICS started it off. The basis is Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. All right, now you have Saudi Arabia, Germany, and all these other Latin countries, and a whole laundry list of countries that have joined, and it's not being shown on the media. It says BRICS is an acronym for the 5 leading emerging economies: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. So these are all economic powerhouses, man. All right, so this is not the military branch of their new conglomerate. as we know, Russia, China, Iran, and North Korea have their military axis, and they're trying to bring in Turkey now to be an axis against the West, America, and Western Asia, Europe. All right, so they have a military setup, and now they have their banking setup where they can trade outside of the dollar, and other countries can join BRICS and trade in digital currencies and with their own currencies. It's called what? De-dollarization, doing away with the dollar, doing away with the SWIFT trading system. They want to move towards their own digital trading platform. All right, so now let's keep going. It says, what is BRICS and its purpose? What is BRICS? BRICS is an acronym for the powerful groupings of the world's leading emerging market economies. All right. But it says the BRICS mechanism aims to promote peace, security, development, and cooperation. The main comparative advantage of this group is their low labor costs, favorable demographics, and abundant natural resources at the time of the global commodities boom. The gold, right. Let me get this real quick. It says right here, check this out. The meeting is BRICS against NATO. See, it's not a military setup. It's a banking setup, an economic setup against the EU. All right. And the IMF and America's dollar. The meeting gave the impression of a divided international community ahead of the Group of Seven, G7 summit, and the NATO summit. See, the G7 deals with the EU and the NATO summit, so it's all together. That's the B.R.I.C.S. To be held one after another at the end of June. Thus, although BRICS is not a military alliance, it has a confrontational relationship against NATO and the G7. All right, so the BRICS, I forgot China's new version of SWIFT and the digital setup. All right. So you also have the Axis, which is the military establishment with Russia, going into Ezekiel 38. So this is the Lord creating this, man, right in front of our face. This is Daniel chapter 2, verse 40. And the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron, for as much as iron breaketh in pieces and subdueth all things, and as iron that breaketh all these shall it break in pieces and bruise. Meaning talking about the Roman Empire and its dominance and power in the earth, even up to the EU. All right, we had the what was it called? The Treaty of Rome. All right, when the Rome's deadly wound was healed with the establishment of the Treaty of Rome in 1971, and also with America, the revised Roman Empire. All right, so it still was breaking in pieces, like iron does. And whereas thou sawest the feet and the toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron, all right, so the feet represents the end of the system of the beast, spoken of in Revelation 17. So at the end, that's when this is all going to happen. So we're seeing the end of their system that they established. We're seeing the end of their power in the earth, being strong as iron. All right. It says the kingdom shall be divided, man. So it's potter's clay and part of iron. So that means weakened. but it still got that strength of the Roman Empire, and it still has that financial power, but now it's losing that in the world. All right. And the kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be in it of the strength of the iron. All right, so all the kingdoms and nations are divided. And it says here, where was that? All right, so the Roman Empire is divided. And it says, but there shall be in it of the strength of the iron. That's called what? The Brexit, the ITEL exit, all these nations that are leaving the original EU and NATO. All right, I forgot the 10 countries. Who was it? I think it was Italy, Luxembourg, Ireland, Western Germany. Germany is talking about going with BRICS now. All right, I think I said Netherlands, Belgium, England. In England, through England, that's how you get the establishment of the banking setup over here in America, from England. All right, so that's part of the UK. So they said the UK is leaving, and well, it's talking about joining the BRICS. And the main country over there that's running the UK is England. And the main country that's running the EU is Germany. So all of those are talking about joining with the BRICS, man, financially or economic setup, so they can protect themselves against what's to come. And they can help to strip America of its power and influence in the world, moving towards a new world order. That's why you got the EU, or I'll say the UK, the Western European nations, playing both sides of the field in the war, just like they did in all the previous wars. All right, Western, I think that's Western Europe. All right, Northwest Europe of the island, which is called the UK, dominated by Britain and England. Then you have Northern Ireland. All right, then you have the EU nations leading with America and Germany, or mainly Germany. Then you have NATO, which is led by America. All right. So all of that is part of iron and part of clay. It's been weakened because they're all pulling away from their solidarity with each other. Satan is divided against Satan. The kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be in it of the strength of the iron. So they still ruling things, running things, but they're trying to bring in a new world order. For as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay, and as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. So that's what it means when it speaks of the EU being like iron and NATO and all them being like iron. It's talking about their strength, and it's been being broken in the earth. The Lord is breaking the staff of the wicked, breaking their power, breaking their allegiance to each other. All right. And whereas thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men. See, that's the EU. And also parts of the countries from NATO. They're going to try to mingle with the BRICS nations, but it's not going to work. It says what? But they shall not cleave one to another, meaning it's not going to last for long. Them trying to all, the EU nations trying to join up with the BRICS nations, trying to join up with Africa. Look how Africa not trying to deal with the French anymore. All right, France is one of those 10 toes. It says, whereas thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, all right, with these other nations, but they shall not cleave one to another. I mean, it's not going to work at the end of the day. Just it says what? Even as iron is not mixed with clay, like you can't make iron stick with clay. So you can build iron. The old Roman Empire today, called the EU, is not going to be able to join in with the BRICS nations like it wants to. All right, I think they use over there. I think they use the euro, and now they're trying to move towards digital transactions. All right, with Southern Ireland and Northern Ireland, giving them digital ID tags because of the whole Brexit. So it says what? And in the days of these kings shall Yahweh, the God of heaven, set up a kingdom. So the Lord is establishing his kingdom now, according to Amos chapter 9, rebuilding the tabernacle of David, building us up as a spiritual temple. He's establishing his kingdom on the earth through the Spirit, which shall never be destroyed. And the kingdom shall not be left to another people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever, man. So that's what we're witnessing right now. All right, so all these EU European nations, they're gonna try to get on board with the BRICS nations and pull away from America, all right, to protect themselves. And see, England, let me get that real quick. All right, Jeremiah 50:12, your mother shall be sore confounded. Who's the one that helped to develop America? England, all right, especially financially and economically, giving America its power and influence in the earth through the dollar and the Federal Reserve System. All right, helping it to sit over many nations as a whore over many waters and many nations. And all those nations have ran from under the branches of America and have ran up under another tree called B.R.I.C.S. Your mother shall be sore confounded. She that bare you shall be ashamed. All right. Behold, the hindermost of the nations shall be a wilderness, a dry land, and a desert. Means there's going to be no help for America in these nations. All right. And the hindermost of the nations is America. Because of the wrath of Yahweh, it shall not be inhabited, but it shall be wholly desolate. Everyone that goeth by Babylon shall be astonished and hiss at her plagues. Put yourselves in array against Babylon round about. So all these nations are coming against America round about. All right, not just financially and economically, but militarily as well. All right, so we'll move on with the lesson. Habakkuk 2:5. Yea, also because he transgresseth by wine. See, America was transgressing, continuing in this pollution of the world and sin. All right, by wine, by its philosophies, demonocracy, what they call democracy, their banking system, the dollar. So they thought because they were increasing in power in the world, robbing, stealing, and killing, they became proud. America became proud. That's why the scriptures say his look was more stout than his fellows in Daniel chapter 7. Talking about America. Became proud. Neither keepeth at home, right? Going all over the world. Look at the most recent excursion from America going on with China over there near Taiwan, sending 200 troops over there, 200 American troops, and to go to war with China. Neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, man, and is as death and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations and heapeth unto him all people. And they did that through America. They call America the melting pot, and with the dollar, But now the BRICS is heaping into themselves all people in all nations. Shall not all these take up a parable against him? See, and they're taking up a parable against America and against the EU and against NATO. All right, the acronym BRICS. And a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his, man. So America has increased in the riches and resources and power in the earth and the influence. That's why it's called the whore, because it doesn't belong to this place. It's been given. They all were in agreement, and it's been given to America, and it's been increasing in debt, and the debt is what keeping this place going. The more bailouts or money that's given to this place, it creates more debt, but it allows America to continue. Woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay, that thick, heavy debt. All right? So that's what these nations are saying. They're like, how long can America last? How long can this dollar keep going? How long are we going to keep it as a reserve currency when it's doing nothing but destroying their portfolio or their currencies? Destroying their reserve basket, destroying their resources, being sanctioned as well. So they're like, how long, man? This nation's gonna have this power. So they're moving towards speeding up the process of America's downfall. It says, shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee? All right, so that rising up, that's what they're doing with the BRICS. All these nations are rising up, especially with Russia and China. And that shall bite thee, man. It means to what? Let me get that real quick. All right, that word bite, it means to what? To make, give interest. To give interest, man. To strike with a sting. Oppress with interest on a loan. Whoo! And who's one of the biggest holders of America's debt? China. Given to them by Europe. All right. The biggest holder of American debt, and they've sold that debt to nations like Iran and Russia. So they own major parts of America's debt. So whenever they choose to, they can just make America default on this debt, or they can cause. They can say, hey, they want their money back. They want their gold. They want their resources for the debt. So all those dollars would come home to roost in America, which would be what? Hyperinflation. All right, so they have the power to snap their fingers and destroy America's economy. China, Russia, and all them. They have that power right now. So before they do so, they're securing themselves by creating the BRICS economy so they can trade without the dollar, so they can exclude America before they bring it down. All right. So this is about to happen. It says, shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee? Meaning oppress or persecute America for the loans that it owe. And want the interest on it. Interest meaning it built up over time. And the UK, especially with England, the banking setup, they're going to be the main ones that put the pressure on America. All right, the globalists. It says, and awake that shall vex thee, man. All right, so now they all awake, meaning manifested. They're causing America to tremble. All right, it's in confrontation to America. It's in confrontation to NATO and the EU. These nations that's coming together are gonna cause this place, America, to agitate as with fear, to cause to tremble, to shake violently. Whew. All right, so where was that? All right, and it says, and thou shalt be for booties. So awake that shall vex thee, and thou shalt, right, vex, meaning cause America to tremble, and thou shalt be for booties, meaning for spoil. And that's what they build, that's what they're preparing for, to spoil this place. But before they do it, they're solidifying, they're fortifying themselves in their own conglomerate and allegiance with each other, these other nations, in which you got England, or what you call the UK, all right, all trying to jump on board to protect their infrastructure as well. This is Revelation 17 and 15. And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues, man. So that's America that was ruling over these nations with their dollar, all right, with their banking system, and also militarily, you know, and the policies and sanctions, so and missile threats and deterrence to these nations, threatening them with war. Well, it says here, all right, so they were all sitting over, America was ruling over all these nations. Now it's losing that power in the earth. And now Russia and China are ruling. And these leading nations like Brazil and India and South Africa are leading the nations right now to a whole new plateau of a new world order that they see, besides Western Europe's world order. All right, so where was it at? And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, see the 10 horns represent the EU. And if you understand the scripture in 16, it's really supposed to say the 10 horns and the beast. So the 10 horns, the EU and NATO. All right, these shall hate the whore, man. So they're gonna persecute this place, America. You see, they're trying to join the B.R.I.C.S, right? Leaving America stranded economically. They're pulling away from the dollar. You know, the globalists are changing America's paradigm or currency as well. All right. These shall hate the whore, man. All right. So the 10 horns represent the 10 toes. And it says, and shall make her desolate and naked, meaning strip America of its power and influence in the earth. They're stripping America of its power, even including the dollar and the economy and the SWIFT banking system, whatever you want to, and they're moving towards XRPs, all right? And they're moving towards the B.R.I.C.S establishment of economy, and where they can trade without the dollar. So they're stripping America of its power and influence in the earth. The influence with the military and with the culture, and also their politicians, their sanctions. So America can't influence the world anymore. They go over Saudi Arabia, they get no love with Biden. But when Russia and Putin or Xi Jinping went over there to Saudi Arabia, they got a king's welcome. Red carpet rolled out. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, man. So even the UK or even Germany, which is one of those 10 horns, West Germany, is going to hate the whore as well. All right, and cause her to be desolate and naked, meaning losing his power and influence, and shall eat her flesh, meaning the mirth of the land is gone, and the culture, and strip the power from this place and burn her with fires. All right. So ultimately, the scripture said that Esau, the son of perdition, was going to lead these nations into a war to cause America to be destroyed. All right, for Yahweh had put in their hearts to fulfill his will. Whew, so it's the Father's will for America to be exalted and to be destroyed. All right. And to agree and to give their kingdom unto the beast until the words of Yahweh shall be fulfilled, man. So until Daniel chapter 2, to where they're all, Satan is divided against Satan, you know, in which the Lord is going to send his son, Yahweh Shai, the stone, to break the rest of their kingdom in pieces and rule over these nations. All right, so now it says, and the woman which thou sawest is the great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth. Meaning America has been ruling as a whore, but it's been ruling as a king over all these nations. Kingdom over all these nations. So now the nations such as China, Russia, India, South Africa, and the whole list that they read off in the beginning, their whole idea is to pull away from the American dollar, stripping America of its power. And the UK and the EU is all for it, for America losing that power in the earth so that they can establish a new world order on this planet, leaving America as a third world country or ultimately destroyed. All right, stripping America of its power, the dollar, where these nations are pulling away from trading in America's currency, where America's getting kicked out of these nations' backyards with deoccupy, get out of Taiwan, get out of Iran, get out of the Middle East, get off of Russia's border. So it's losing its power in the earth and its influence. All right, and that's what the foundation of this is about. When you hear about the B.R.I.C.S, when you hear about Russia and China establishing their own economy, establishing their own military axis, establishing their own digital trading platforms, it's ultimately in establishing their nuclear deterrence and upgrading their weapons technology and arming the nations arming and protecting the other nations and encouraging them according to Ezekiel 38. This is all the Lord's prophecy and his will. All right, with that I'm going to say shalom.